Hey everybody, it's Bust, continuing on with Expedition Trial number 339. I think that's about right, 339. Let's see who shows up. I'm looking to just draft whoever we've drafted in the past. That zero winner that we had showing up there was a Talia, Malphite, Twisted Fate, and I think I've touched on all three of those champions within the past two trials. Maybe it was the past three. I think the last one was Twisted Fate Leona, and then the one before that was a Talia Malphite, and so it's like, man, that's too soon. And so I'm pretty sure this one's going to send us down the way of Heimerdinger. But let me get this pulled up on the site real quick, do a quick search, and see what we can find. And so if you're not familiar with it, it's ftpbus.com. It's where I keep all of my expedition related content. It's kind of easy to use the little search feature to um, see if there's like a specific champion that you're wanting to get a playthrough with or something along the lines of that. Yeah, with Heimerdinger back here at 258, he's definitely going to be the oldest one back. I know Malphite was super recent. Let's see, he was at 336. If we're on 339 now, so that was like 2 or 3 ago. And then Draven, always loved drafting Draven, and so I'm pretty sure that he's going to be recent here as well, 323. So, okay, let's go ahead and jump in with this Heimerdinger. And it's got at least, some of the pieces that I like with Heimer. I'll pull him back up on the site here in just a moment. But the thing I always look for with him it's your recognition of number one, where the good turrets are. That's always your 3-drop turret, your 3-attack one with Fearsome. And then your 6th-cost turret, the Floor Begone with Elusive. He was nerfed, I don't know, maybe 6 months, 9 months ago, to push the Floor Begone from the 3-drop to the 6, which is he hasn't really recovered from. And so not just being able to be like, well, here's 3 Flash of Brilliances giving me 3 elusive units and I'm going to end the game in 2 turns. That was what he was good at for quite a while. The Fearsome is much more blockable than the Floor Begone, but it still has this evasive ability, which makes it pretty good. And so the other thing with Heimer is, if you're going to play 5 mana is a big investment, and so what we've been seeing here recently, if you want to compare this to playing like a NASA strike and having it just fail because your opponent played an Elixir of Iron, you can have some very similar play paths with Heimerdinger, where if you, um, spend your 5 mana onto to get the champion in play and then just nothing else, have him come down and immediately die, it's just a huge boon and you just fall super far behind. So what I always end up recommending with this Heimerdinger is that we play him with some spell mana and then try to spew off some Flash of Brilliances. So if we play Heimer, play 2 Flash of Brilliances, maybe follow up with a random Death Ray or something, then that's going to put 3 turrets in our hand, and then if our opponent kills him, it's not that bad anymore. And so we would love to have him stay on the board, but we've already extracted some value out of this. And so that's what we typically look for with Heimer. And so the Flash of Brilliance is a 3, which also brings up the turret. The last thing I'll talk about before I pull him up on the site is the Eager Apprentice lets us play Unlicensed Innovations on turn 3. So if we don't play anything on the first turn, we can play Eager Apprentice on 2, have that 3 spell mana banked up, and then on turn 3 we can play Unlicensed Innovation, which also makes 6-cost units for Heimer, generating these Floor Begones that we're so interested in. So yeah, let me pull him up on the site here real quick. We'll just be over on the Expedition Helper section, scroll our way down to Heimerdinger, and take a peek at what's going on here. So again, yeah, the big things that we're looking for here, it's basically 2 independent sets of cards. Well, I guess we should call that 3. There's the cards that we're specifically looking for Heimerdinger are the Flash of Brilliance and then the Unlicensed Innovation. And so that is kind of like 1 and 2. I initially lumped these together as kind of like, spells that we want to cast with Heimer. That's it. And so we're going to look for those. Eager Apprentice helps really kick off the deck, and then we're just going to try to get a big pile of removal spells. So this does tend to play as a control deck where you're just trying to trade off a bunch of 1-for-1 removals, and then when you have the opportunity to play Heimerdinger and you can get card advantage for 2 or 3 or 4 cards, you should be able to run away with the game. So we'll see. This is the way we typically build Heimer. I don't like him as a supporting champion, just because he's so expensive, but we'll see how these things play out here as to whether or not we continue on with Heimerdinger as our main build around, or if we want to chase down something else. And this is not the most useful set of cards. If you look at like the tier list on the site, I try to list a champion as being like a combat-centric champion or a spell-centric champion. It's just like, you know, where are we going to get the value out of, say, playing a card like Riposte? And so if, you know, we're playing Quinn or we're playing Lulu, we're doing lots of attacking, you can see lots of cards that are going to be happy with a Riposte, whether it's one of these challengers like Fleet Feather Tracker, protecting a Lulu in combat. These are two champions that would play reasonably well together in Quinn and Lulu. But if we look at, say, like Heimerdinger, he's not going to get much advantage out of a Riposte. We're not going to have any challengers in here. Eager Apprentice doesn't really care about winning combats, and so, you know, it's hard to get a good deck with like Heimerdinger Quinn or Heimerdinger Lulu because the champions don't work well together. And then even on like a grander scale, on the faction level, these don't do well either. There's no scouts within Piltover. We could look towards like the Grand Moments deck. We would get that paired up with Lux, so maybe Quinn is an option just to put ourselves into Demacia. Then maybe we'll find some of the like the Mage Seekers. So I could see this on the more like, I don't know, macro level, just on the faction level. Nothing is going to come out of Ionia in that sense, and I kind of like was initially thinking about Trundle. It would be kind of useful if we're playing things like Catalyst of the Aeons. I could see that being a good card with Heimerdinger either before he comes down and you know, just helps us ramp, or after he comes down to generate a 5 attack unit. I think is the quick attack one that comes out at 5 attack, and so I could kind of see that. This one's tough. I think I'm just going to take the Quinn and hope that the Lux cards eventually show up. The Grand Moments Heimer is kind of okay, but I think I want to try and get the Mage Seekers in here. And so we'll pull up Scouted Out Quinn real quick. I don't plan on drafting too much out of this, but I'm pretty sure that this at least has spells in it that we want. Like Concerted Strike is still fine. Sharp Sight doesn't play that well with Heimerdinger, but it is still a reasonable combat trick to save something. And then, as we talked about, Riposte not playing well with the Heimer, it lives here as well. But if we take a quick peek at the Lux deck, the things that we'd be kind of hoping to get out of here, always love having Remembrance. It's just a better unlicensed innovation. And then we can see if these Mage Seekers start to show up, the units that get a boost if you've played a 6-cost spell. Grand Moments is the other half of the Heimer deck, and that's I kind of like struggle with this kind of theme sometimes when we do this, because, you know, if we're really looking to build towards Heimerdinger, we want all of like the Flash of Brilliance type of cards, and so we don't want these Demacia packs showing up out of the Grand Moments pack. And so let me check this Enlightenment Trundle. I think I might have like reconvinced myself. If like my only problem with going into Demacia is if we're going to try and get a big stack of Flash of Brilliances and we need to get them out of the Grand Moments packs, we don't want those Grand Moments packs to be Demacia. And so so what do we have here? Catalyst to the Aeons, and just like no more spells. We can do Battle Fury. We can have our little Battle Fury Heimerdinger here. What is this? Revitalizing Roar, cost 7. That gets the barrier. Hey, we can play Feel the Rush. So this is tough. It's such a big card pool. I'm really like kind of interested in Catalyst of the Aeons here, but I don't think it's going to play out quite as well as I want. But I think I still want to try this theme and just go for the Flash of Brilliances. I'm going to take the Trundle here and see how this plays out. Okay. Not a super interesting set of cards. Out of all of these, I'm actually mostly interested in Kindly Tavern Keeper. Just not a good deck. I don't really like Puffcat Peddlers in these style of decks, and then Iterative Improvement is a bit slow. So I certainly don't like these Behold cards, but I think Kindly Tavern Keeper is the best. But when it comes down to this, and what I think typically happens is if we take this Enlightenment pack first, it's going to start showing us a whole bunch of Freylord packs, which we really just don't want. So I'm going to start out with the Puffcat Peddler to just try to shape up our draft in the way that we want it to go. Okay, man. We can take all the iterative improvements today, but no, we got to take the gotcha here. I'm not really stoked about Back Alley Barkeep here, but maybe we can do something with him. Okay, these are the packs we're looking for with the Unlicensed Innovation Mystic Shot. That's a pretty easy take. Okay, then we're gonna continue to take the barkeeps for the value here. I guess we could send Heimer to the bar and try to pull this off. Otherwise, I don't want to jump into Demacia. We've already talked about that. The Lonely Poro wouldn't be that awful here, just as an early game play, but we need to kind of stack up these barkeeps while we can. Okay, what a weird cloning program pack. just say what up. Here's the Tusk Raider along with the troop of Elnix. Why is this coming out of synergy? That's so weird. But it looks like we're getting an iterative improvement either way. I can't bring myself to just take the Tusk Raider here. It's just, man, I don't know. We could like Mystic Shot Tusk Raider or something, but doesn't seem like a real deck. So let's just take the Mystic Shot pile. Okay, well here's some stall at least. A nice Kindly Cavern Keeper along with a high quality 6-cost spell. Feels pretty good to me. Our first Flash of Brilliance, nice. I usually like to pick up 3 or 4 Flash of Brilliances if we're able to. Here is the actual Catalyst of Aeons that we were talking about earlier, but we can't pass on this when we have a Flash of Brilliance to take. Okay, so my only like big worry here is like if our curve starts to get out of whack. It looks good from just the curve viewer. I don't know, whatever you call this down at the bottom, but knowing that in large part we have 2 iterative improvements and a Flash of Brilliance, our curve isn't quite as good as it looks. And so I think we might be okay to just go like 1 more Harsh Winds deep, but arguably the actual correct pick here is the Academy Prodigy Chump Wump, just to take the cheaper units. Okay, here's another Flash of Brilliance with a Peddler. That'll be fine. Okay, I'm not opposed to continue to take these Kindly Tavern Keepers. Not a huge fan of Succumb to the Cold, though, so I think I actually just want to take the Ruthless Raider with the Fury of the North. Keep our early game plays going. All right, an Ice Quake with a Catalyst of the Aeons. I'm interested in trying out this Catalyst, and then having a big AoE should be pretty decent in this deck as well. Help stall out the game until we can get our Heimerdinger going. And here, this one's kind of interesting. I usually don't like Entreat, but in these decks, it's like Heimerdinger is so important that I'm sometimes okay with picking this up. But I don't think we want to do that. I think I want to take another AoE along with the Lonely Poro. We have our deck situated to where, as long as the game goes long, we should be okay. We don't have like this super good late game, but we have Heimerdinger, and so I think we could pull this off okay. I'm going to hang on to the Lonely Poro here as an early game play, never trading out the Unlicensed Innovation, and then could look towards the Voltician. How many? We have 5 that cost more than 6. I think this is actually okay. I would like to pick up a little bit more late game here, so I think that feels good. All right, let's jump in. Let's turn something premium and then head on into battle. So, the units not owned. Where we at here? We got a Piltover and a Freylord. I don't. We're running so low on these cards. We're running out of stuff to do. I'm surprised we haven't leveled up Troll Ravager yet. Do we have one of these? Can't remember if we drafted one or not. Got to go back and forth here. Troll Ravager, we got one. You're about to get your premium treatment, my man. Troll Ravager. Boom. Right, no, we could have spent gems on that. But looking good. Let's get ready for battle here. Alright, so yeah, I mean, it didn't completely come together as I had hoped. We didn't see any eager apprentices, but a lot of the core is here. We got the 2 or 3 Flash of Brilliances, the Harsh Winds and Unlicensed Innovations will be good. Got a handful of removal spells. Didn't pick up any Thermogenic Beams, but we also didn't see any. So it's kind of like a middle of the road set of pickups, but it's like the core is here. The raw power that we need is here. It's just a matter of just kind of getting some good trade picks. And this one's interesting. Like, how does this curve work if we play the Catalyst of Aeons on 3? That would give us 5 mana on turn 4, and then we could also just Unlicensed Innovation right afterwards. I think that's okay. I wouldn't expect this Death's Door style P and Z deck to be particularly aggressive, so we might be able to jump out ahead of them here. Okay. I don't suspect there's going to be too many Mistwraiths coming out of this deck. They don't live in the Thresh card pool, and so it was probably just kind of a random pickup that he got. As I say that, opponent says, "Bust, you don't know shit. You don't know what you're talking about, my man." Wow, I would just never expect this. Okay. Alright, well, we're gonna have to start getting stuff on the board. So let's pivot off of this idea that we're gonna play Unlicensed Innovation. Add the 2 units that can interact with a Mistwraith, and see if we can't get some kind of open attack happening here. I'm not gonna swing into Clump of Wumps. It's so weird that he was able to piece together all these Mistwraiths. I can't imagine that they frequently have very many of these. And I do still want to keep banking up some mana here. I could see us also wanting to Unlicensed Innovation our Kindly Tavern Keeper. So let's see how this goes. I know we just took this big blasting of damage, but I really can't suspect that he's going to have too much more follow-up after this, as far as Mistwraiths are concerned.
Can you improve perfection?
Cool. Ooh, nice little gotcha.
They look angry.
Fall to 7. Or do we want to just go ahead and take down the other Mistwraith? We also have the Fury of the North we could play, but I kind of want to save it for Trundle.
I've carved meat bigger than you.
Let's just prevent the damage and play the long game here. I mean, I guess we could do it like this. This feels a little better. He should. They don't have any combat tricks to get out of this. I guess he could play Suit Up on his Mistwraith, but highly unlikely they have a combat trick here. Let's give him a chance to spend some mana. I don't really want to lose this Trundle, and so I kind of want to keep the Fury of the North mana up, but such danger. Let's just keep passing.
Prime and ready. A ticket to the gun show.
There's something. And yes, I understand we could have played the Tavern Keeper onto the Trundle, but I want to Tavern Keeper our health. I just think that's a little bit more important than hanging onto that combat trick. There's a multitude of ways for him to deal 1 damage. All the Shadow Isles pings he could pick up. Hey, we did have an Eager Apprentice.
It's always cold in the Freljord. It's good to be the king.
Let's get our Trundle going. Should be able to get some good board going here.
Egg. Did it move?
Value out of this? It's kind of awkward now. Might as well add it to the board.
Safety disengaged. Fire till nothing moves.
I think we just run it all out. He doesn't have a Vengeance. He could have a Crumble. Fresh, interesting. So I'll at least do it this way. If he wants to block Trundle with Thresh, we have the attack to get through.
You have to get me out of here.
to heal my face, please.
What will you have?
Alright, so we can certainly get bigger than him here, but he's got a ton of cards in his hand.
Prime and ready. Safety is
Of course. it makes sense that the dude would have some more mist wraiths. Shot barrage, that's interesting. Save that for next turn. Let's just pass. We can play both. He's gonna have to do something here. So let's see if we either can't get a good True Shot Barrage, or if he wants to keep passing with his Thresh on board. I'm pretty okay with that.
I am the future.
Mushroom Cloud down our
And I thought I was the
pillar.
troll.
What happens if we can kill all of his units but Thresh? That then he's just gonna get his Ezreal back. We can't technically True Shot Barrage Thresh. Ezreal's not anywhere near flipping. Okay. Could have also tried to do like a 3 to Thresh and then try to clean him up with Ice Quake, but that has a lot of potential to fail when he flips. So maybe maybe we should have left the Spiderling on board so that his Thresh wouldn't flip. That sounds like that would have been a lot better. Oh man, what is this? Bringing the hooks onto Trundle? Oh, so we can get him with Ezreal? Oh man, we punted this one, didn't we? This is bad. We definitely should not have killed that spider. We're still okay. We can Ice Quake this board. Losing our Trundle is just not ideal though. Let's see, we still have the Static Shock as well, so we may not need to do all this. Put it on Ezreal, so if he has some kind of reasoning to want to block our Apprentice, then this will be fine. I'm skeptical of why he's passing here. It feels like he just wants to play a Vengeance, and so I think this should hopefully be okay. And this would have been so much better if we just held on to that, let that Spiderling hang out on the board. Interesting.
No way.
Interesting. Just do nothing? Uh-oh. Let's go into our face place. Oh, okay. Face place followed by the surrender. You got it. Okay, so I'm pretty intent on still just building to Heimerdinger. I know this is a really weak set of cards, but like we've really set up our deck to just be a Heimerdinger deck, and so I think that's just what we're stuck taking the rest of the way. At least, you know, he's a okay-ish champion, and then his flip is really strong, so hopefully we can make this work. There's just a lot of cards here I don't like. I don't like Death Rays. We did have an Eager Apprentice. Forgot that we picked one up, but handful of things we need to get out of here. And the tokens. Do not have good answers to Azir with this deck. so this is all just too slow. Icequake shouldn't be particularly good here either. So let's look for some of our cheaper plays. Those are our cheaper plays. So we can still play the Poro. If we want to play the Catalyst on 3, then we'll just bank up the 2 mana next turn. Cool. See if that's going to be something that's going to cause us to fall too far behind, or not doing anything, are you? Open it up. Seer? Interesting. It's the actual do-nothings. You gotta have something now, don't you? What? Let's do nothing. Man. Okay. He did it. He played a unit.
No time for fear.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play the Tavern Keeper. These Ruthless Raiders can be decent here, you know, as long as he doesn't have an Azir or,
Fight or die.
you know, like an Inspired Marshal on the board to give his units a boost. Then the tough units can just block the blades, and the other ones just kind of indefinitely.
King of Trolls coming through.
Each a grain of sand in a mighty desert.
Right, well, we have some of the tools I'd like against the tokens deck. We got the Ruthless Raider and the Static Shocks going on here. Do it. Mana for all of this, and we only have 8.
Onward!
You got a problem?
A fight.
I've carved meat bigger than you.
Alright, let's see how that shapes up. Don't really want to have to Fury of the North here, but I do want to keep the Sandcrafter from attacking again. So hopefully this will shut down his future attacks. Ooh, and Heimer is a big pickup. Okay, yeah, we can do stuff.
The Emperor commands, the land obeys. The desert by my side.
Okay, I'll throw away a Sinister Poro here just to prevent some damages, but otherwise this is fine. So, make this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay.
They look angry.
It seems fantastic for us. Alright, I think we got this one now. So, I don't like to call the shot too early, but I think we got it. Looking pretty strong. Tends to be what happens when your opponent doesn't play anything for the first 3 turns of the game, but as much hate is out there for Token Azir these days, I don't think anyone's feeling too hard. It's too bad for our opponent.
The world's in a grain of sand.
Let's see. I mean, I would really enjoy playing both Flash of Brilliance and Harsh Winds this turn. Let's see. Trundle Quake, not quite what we're looking for. He just may not have any more cards. Okay. Nice.
Bam, bam, bam! Ha, ha, ha!
What do we got here? We got access to a Mystic Shot. Alright, well, you put your work in today, Lonely Poro, but we gotta switch to Mystic Shots. You were exactly what the doctor ordered for the token stack. Okay, don't love seeing Aurelion Soul when we're playing a deck as slow as ours, but maybe we can pull off this puff cap thing here. Excuse me. Wouldn't expect too much aggression, although this feels like the kind of game where our opponent's gonna like play the turn 2 Faces of the Old Ones and hit the Behold, and then we just get pissed off. But you know, I feel like the majority of games will have a lot of time to where we can just put the puff cap peddlers on the board and not get too involved in combats.
This land is ours.
Want to eat this for a turn and get the puff caps? Okay, I can get behind that. Also gets us banked up to 3 if we kind of want to pivot away from this game plan.
Heard there was a little fella asking for me.
You get maximum value out of every spell here. Care about that? I guess kind of the big thing is it would give him a plunder next turn if he's gonna try and drop a Wolf Rider on us. Like the idea of this guy being around.
They grow up so fast.
Okay.
Leave nothing standing.
Have a mushroom. Have 3.
So let's add a Peddler, and then we're not really looking to play Heimerdinger until our opponent's next turn, where we can both play Heimerdinger and Fury of the North. But this Troll Ravager was the perfect draw. Could arguably just play Back Alley Barkeep, since we're just going to try to trade away whatever, but this should maybe keep him from trying to get attacks in on us. Hit that. Hit 1 card and 2 mana crystals.
Littles crush easy.
Okay.
Look out for Reavers. Light the signal fires.
Okay. I'm a little worried now.
Ha! Meet Snow Sunder. Ah!
Eminently logical.
Can't attack. Do we ever want to draw more Death Rays? Probably not. Let's let it roll over. Then we have a couple choices. We can play the Progress Day to get the 8/8, or we can try to play multiple spells. I think we just want a Progress Day here.
Spectrum of pyrotechnics. Behold.
That's about right.
They think they're so
That's
strong.
about right. Okay, well, we can't give up on it just yet, but can't imagine we win from this spot.
My, how they stare.
No, just the actual draw perfects this game. You actually managed to hit the horrible ramp card into Aurelion Soul 2 turns early into drawing Supernova off the top. I mean, that's one way to do it. I never know what to do in this situation. Like if you've just spent your luck for the week, and so like opponent has no business buying lottery tickets this week, or if you're just like high rolling so hard that you have to go and buy the lottery ticket today. I've never like really been able to piece how that plays out, but opponent's certainly doing something right there. But anyways, to move forward, I think I want to pick up the Three Sisters. I'm not like super excited to have this in our deck, but we haven't seen any thermogenic beams, so we have no way to actually just deal with a unit. And this being able to generate entombs gives us kind of a crappy removal spell that we can use. And so it's in no means good. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's not that good in this style of deck. But we have to have like some kind of removal spell. Okay, so Misfortune and Lucian. Bringing on the old scouts. Interesting. I'm always kind of like tempted to hang on to Heimerdinger, but I think he's going to be a little bit too slow here. Let's hang on to the Innovation. It's a good turn 3 play. Maybe our opponent won't be quite ready to open on us. Oh, perfect. We hit the Apprentice. Beautiful.
I'm on it.
Smell that? A bite's a cooking.
In one trade? Alright.
I'm one of the good guys, but not that good.
I think we're just gonna run out a whole bunch of eager apprentices here. See, the contraption should shut down his attack. And then we can like improvement apprentice, replay it, improvement the apprentice, and replay. And end with the patrol wardens.
Happy to do whatever's needed. Right! Did that sound right?
Can you stomach this?
Beautiful, beautiful. This should be tough for him to add units to the board here like this.
Yeah, friend.
Get this chain going. Things is about to happen. Do we just pivot away from these now, though? Probably.
Batter him!
Guns blazing.
Can't fight on an empty stomach.
We left our unit behind. Oh, that War Chef's hook is bad. Let's see. So we have the choice, some better choices for the unlicensed innovation now if we want. I'm kind of thinking that we just want to add Unstable Voltician and copy him. So that's okay. We can drop this to prevent 3 if we want. Probably do.
Safety first.
Okay.
Mwah.
That and they said I was dangerous.
It's not like the greatest of boards for these things, but okay. I was gonna say because he can just like hook it down next turn, but that was a awfully aggressive single combat.
They fear tomorrow.
All right, here's the big boy.
A game? Go on then. Where you going?
Misfortune. She's only got 1 attack in. Feels like she's had like 3 or 4 attacks by now. Okay.
My shield is yours.
Interesting. I don't really want to just take 10. Let's start with Flash of Brilliance, see if anything awesome comes up. Harsh Winds is close to awesome. Don't have the means to keep adding stuff if that's our play. Cool to just take 10 from this. Probably just have to Harsh Winds this turn. least gonna go ahead and do it now. We can get burned here if he has, say, like a Grizzled Ranger. But I want to encourage him to not make a scout attack. I guess he still does it, like almost every time, but...
You'll only report me.
Love ya.
Like we're so far behind. Oh god. Alright, we're gonna be, as they say, dead. I don't think we can come back from this. We really needed to keep this unit around.
Eat up, friend.
And I don't know what else we're supposed to do here. Like, we could have taken 10 from the thing. So much damage. Feel the rush? Maybe. Maybe. We can feel the rush next turn if we don't
Put a spring in your step and stars in your eyes.
if we don't spend our spell mana, which seems pretty good.
There's something to chill off.
I'd say he's gonna open with the 2 scouts. But after that open, then we can feel the rush. Say, or if he I deal with misfortune as well.
No regrets, no mercy.
I had high hopes for this turn, but it's not gonna happen with the misfortune flip.
I've got meat bigger than you.
This is gonna be a short one today. We dead 4, 7, 9 plus 3. Yeah, we're dead. Okay. And so it kind of is what it is. I do not think that Heimerdinger is a particularly strong champion these days, and so to end up with like a 2-winner with Heimerdinger doesn't like super surprise me. So we can get it pulled up and talk about it a little bit more, but it's like ultimately the problem with Heimer is like the amount of work it takes for him to be good, and so if we want to say like, okay, how do I make this Heimerdinger deck work? You need those like 2 things like really going for it. You need to be able to do the Eager Apprentice into Unlicensed Innovation so that you have some kind of early game play. Otherwise, your early game units are just all turds, right? So you're like, oh man, I've got like Puffcat Peddlers and Clump of Wumps. Like everything is understated because they all are geared to make up for that with their abilities. And so if we're just going to play a game where opponent plays a 2/2 for 1, a 5-stat 2, a 6-stat 3, and then a 7-stat 4, or I guess like a non-stat 4. You can't do things like that with P and Z. Like you're gonna be like on turn 1 you can play the Astute Academic, which is good, but then on turn 2 you're playing like Eager Apprentice or you're playing Clump of Wumps, both of which are understated. On turn 3 you can get the 3/3 out of the Puffcat Peddler, but it's pretty not ideal. You're never playing a unit that can like get a shutdown on your opponent's combat. And then on turn 4, it's like your only plays are things like Back Alley Barkeep, which is a 3/2, or things like Chump Wump, which is a 4/3. There's just like no early game within this deck outside of either playing Eager Apprentice into the Unlicensed Innovation, or just having removal spells every turn, which both of which are kind of a chore. If you don't draw the right half of your deck, then it's a problem. Like if our opening hand is, say, like 2 random cards that we can't play along with Mystic Shot and Unlicensed Innovation, like we didn't draw the Eager Apprentice, and then we have to Mystic Shot on 2, then our Unlicensed Innovation is dead until at least turn 4. And so it really just like starts to fall apart if you don't draw like the right half of your deck at the right time. And then kind of a second problem with Heimerdinger is just kind of like how the game flow goes. You're going to have these turns like with that one dude where we got to play Heimer, and then we played Flash of Brilliance, and we played Harsh Winds, and just had all these giant dudes super fast. Like that's when things are going right. But what do we do if it's, say, like we're in a top deck battle with our opponents, and it's like turn 12 and we just top deck a Heimerdinger. You're not going to have any spells to play with him, so he's just going to be an understated unit. And so you can run into like lots of problems with him that way. And then like if we want to compare it to the things that are happening nowadays, it's like, well, what if I just play an Eclipse Dragon? Like an Eclipse Dragon just gets so much more value than Heimerdinger, and it doesn't take any work. Or what if I want to play Moondreamer? Right? Like, I don't know, like 60% of the time, 70% of the time, Moondreamer is going to have the option to take like a 7-drop. And so it's just like that doesn't take any work. You can be playing a pure Leona deck and just have like 2 of the Invoke unit that, and you're just like, wow, I have so much top end now. And it's just not something you can do with Heimerdinger. And so he takes quite a bit of work to be good. He needs to kind of get a pretty good champion pairing and then hit all the right removal spells. Like you don't want to be in this spot to where you're taking 3 sisters to make up for not seeing any thermogenic beams. And it's all in all just kind of awkward and tough to get rolling. And so that's fine. It's kind of what I would expect it out of Heimer. If the kind of the way I describe the tier 3 champions is, if things go really well, you can win the trial. I feel like we can 7-win any trial with any tier 3 champion. If things go wrong, you're probably going to end up about where we are. This was a little better than wrong, but this still feels like a pretty average run. And so, yeah, if you do look to draft Heimer on your own, again, remember the big things. You want to take the Eager Apprentices along with Unlicensed Innovation. That's your early game package. You want to pick up as many removal spells as you can, the big ones being Mystic Shot and Thermogenic Beam. And then you want to end the day having 3 or 4 Flash of Brilliances. And then as far as your game flow goes, you're looking to play Heimerdinger with 3 spell mana banked up, so you can at least play 1 Flash of Brilliance after you've played him, just to ensure that you get another unit out of him and you aren't making a 5 mana 1-for-1 trade with your opponent. But yeah, that is going to do it for us today. Looks like we got a handful of the old rewards to click on here, so let's see what makes an appearance. Stonebreaker. Still very good. I was hoping to have higher payoff with the Stonebreaker, but I think he'll be exceptionally good here. He's still very good now. He's not as good as the sea monster, but I think after like the remainder of Empires of the Ascended comes out and we have these additional landmarks to choose from, that he'll be much stronger. But take a peek here. Look at all this. We got the old 3 bonus capsules to go on top of this. We've been playing some labs this week, playing a bit of Constructed, getting those extra capsules. A big old bunch of shards for us. Okay, and then as far as the rest of this goes, maybe we'll spike a champion or 2 along the way. Get something to brag about on the old Reddit. Look how good I am at rolling dice, Reddit. Whoa, all wild cards. What is this? Is more stuff? Token, wild card, and chest? I don't know what happened there. I've never seen it happen like that before. Maybe I just never noticed. Alright, getting right down to the end. Not get any champions today. Wah wah. But alright, that is going to do it for us today. I hope everyone learned how to build your turrets a little bit better. Had a good time watching and learned a thing or two along the way. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.